Yo, what's the vibe? RasLunacy back again with another video, and clearly we're going to be talking about how to get into or back into fitness. So the idea is how to start exercising and to keep consistency being the most important part, and I'll get into why consistency is the most important bit in a minute. But in order to find consistency with this exercising thing, which I have just recently started to find, you'll find it's going to be mostly a mental game. The physical side of things, which is the actual exercising and the body change, are far less important, because if you actually get the mental side of things down, the physical side of things come naturally. It's really the mentality which is blocking most people from finding consistency and therefore achieving their fitness goals. So we'll see here, the mental side of things is the most important in order to make it a habit, and we're going to be talking a lot about habits, because making exercise a habit is also the same thing as finding consistency. You'll find you can make a habit of good things, bad things, but when it comes to exercising, this is a good habit, and it's the reason we want to make it a habit, because it's good for us. So you can break down all habits, good or bad, into the identity, the process, and the outcome. The problem most people will find is that they're very focused on the outcome. They're very outcome based, and what that means is that they're very focused on what they're going to achieve. When you ask someone their fitness goal, their main thing is when you ask someone about their goals fitness wise or exercise wise, they'll tell you they want to have six pack abs. They'll tell you they want to be this amount of weight. They'll tell you they want to lose that amount of weight. They'll tell you they want to be this, be that. They want to look like this, look like that. However, that is the outcome. More importantly than that is if you were to focus on the process. Now, when you ask someone what they actually plan to achieve, and they tell you, oh, I'm trying to bench this amount. They tell you, oh, I'm trying to get into the gym this amount of times per week. This is now process. And when you focus on the process, you're more likely to achieve the outcome. But if we take it even further, we focus on the identity. So the identity is now what you think of yourself, or who you think yourself to be. So if you think of yourself as a fat, lazy piece of S, then clearly it's going to be difficult for you to find consistency. Versus if you think of yourself as someone who is a fitness influencer, regardless if you know Jack's Fitness, this guy is skinny beyond belief, but he has a fitness channel and a following, because there are people what are in his boat and can relate. So regardless of if you're fat, skinny, it doesn't matter. There are people who can relate to your fitness journey. So wherever you are on this journey or spectrum, doesn't matter. What matters is knowing your goal and finding consistency. Those are going to be the only things that matter. At the end of the day, the fitness journey is a personal journey. It's not you shouldn't be doing it to impress others, although that will come naturally. You should be doing it to impress yourself. And that's why the identity is going to become most important, because through the identity, you'll find the process, and through the process, you'll achieve the outcome you so desire. So along with the mental side of things, we'll touch on discipline, willpower, and motivation. These are the three main things you're going to need in order to get through the first section, the first part of working out or getting into working out or exercising, because it's the start that's difficult. Once you get past the 2 month mark, it becomes a part of your routine. It becomes a habit. You no longer think about it. It's just something you do. So the key is going to be having discipline, willpower, or motivation, or two of the three, or all three. Most people won't have all three, but if you have even one of the three and push through with it, you're likely to be able to push through that first period where it's difficult mentally for you, and get to the parts where it's no longer a mental difficulty. It's only about the physical challenge for you now. In fact, mentally, it almost becomes your peace. It almost becomes your place of enjoyment. But we'll talk about that more. The physical side of things, as I said, less important. The things we see with our eyes, the experience, the genetics, accessibility, workout. We'll talk about the physical side of things later on. It's not really important. The mentality, as I said, is what we need to focus on. The mentality, everyone. The mentality. So making it a habit, which is the most important thing. We're going to focus, as I said, as you can see here, the identity is in bold or whatever thing I've put in. So we focus on that process. A little bit less important, but it is important, and the outcome. Now I'm going to bring your attention to the graph in the bottom right, because this graph is important because it signifies mentally how difficult it is to make it a habit. What you'll realize is at the very start there is a very, very high difficulty, but as time goes on it becomes very easy very quickly, and it stays easy for a long period of time. But it's just at the initial start, and you'll find at the very start it's easy to do day one, have a mad workout, burn yourself out, and not go back to the gym for the next 2 years. It's very easy to do that. What's difficult is day 2, 3, and 4 when you're still sore. Getting through that first week and period is going to be very difficult, which is why the first day is easy, then there's a very big spike as to how difficult it becomes, and once you get past the month, 2 month mark, you find that it just becomes a part of your normal day. It's like sleeping, it's like waking up, it's like using the loo, it's like having a shower. It's just the norm. It becomes the norm, and that's where we want to get it to. So as we see here, the identity shows this. The identity is now making yourself that thing. You are now insert your specific exercise goal here. Example, I am now a footballer, I am now a calisthenic athlete, which would be more related to me. I am now a dancer, I am now a parkour expert, I am now a weightlifter, I am now a bodybuilder. I don't care. But when you adopt the mindset, it's how you're gonna actually now feel not just confidence within yourself, but you're actually going to be very focused on the identity, and then therefore it's going to lead into the process. And because you're less focused on the outcome, you're going to not be so derailed when you don't have that progress in a short space. Because at the end of the day, I'll get into how long this journey will take, but this is a long-term journey. Fitness and habits are just things that become a part of your life. You're not meant to be here thinking to yourself, oh, I'm going to do this for 6 months and never again. If you have that mentality, you'll never find consistency. The mentality you need to be adopting, as I said, is the identity, which is you're now this person. So this is just what you do. This is just the norm. This is what you do. You don't think about this. It's just you. That's what you need to get to that. When you get to that point and it becomes just a lifestyle that's just a part of your life, it's when it becomes easy to find consistency and to make it a habit. So the process, as I said, this is the actual doing the thing or the routine. We'll skip this section for now. As I said, the physical is not as important as the mental. And the outcome, the only thing you need to do when it comes to the outcome, as I said, we don't need to focus on it, but tracking your results in some way is going to what helps you to keep going. But the progress you take should be satisfying to you. So you need to find out what gives you the most fulfillment in terms of your progress. Is it seeing the actual change in your physical body? Is it seeing the numbers on the scale go down? Is it seeing the numbers on the weights go up? You need to find out is it seeing the month calendar and you've put an X down on each day you've been to the gym, and when the more X's you see is the more fulfillment that gives. You need to know what brings you satisfaction, the small bits of satisfaction that you'll need to get through the first month or 2 months and find that consistency. So a lot of this is going to be a lot of my mindset right now is taken from the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. It's a good read, that. So that's where making this a habit has become very important to me. So getting into the other side, the other mental side of things. But before we get into that, actually, let's talk about cue, craving, response, and reward. I'll get more into it, but the idea behind the cue, craving, response, and reward is, for every good habit, you want to make it as visible as possible. You want to make it in such a way that you crave that thing. You want to make it satisfying in some way, which is the reward part and the response. But we'll get into it a bit more later on. We'll get into it. So as I said, you need to make it obvious, you need to make it attractive, you need to make it easy, and you need to make it satisfying. If you follow those 4 things, it will be so much easier in making it a habit. And these tips, as I said, were just taken from the book Atomic Habits. If you get a chance, give it a read. So let's talk about discipline a little bit, because discipline, willpower, and motivation are all related, but they're all different. So discipline is the ability to do something that you do not want to do, something that is usually beneficial. So if you do not want to do something, usually it is because this thing is either very difficult, or the thing you're already doing is more attractive than the thing you should be doing. So if discipline seems to be the issue for you, you'll need to find a way to make working out very obvious and accessible. So instead of signing up for the gym that's 10 miles away, go to the nearby park and do the fitness equipment there instead. What you'll find is, when you do it this way, it becomes easier for you to say, oh, well, it's just when it's more accessible, you're more likely to do it. Basically, you want to also make it more inviting or more attractive, so gym partners will help, or telling yourself, oh, you can have a post-workout treat so long as you do the workout. Making the workout easy and slowly increasing the difficulty over time is beneficial. You don't want to burn out. You don't want to start off doing 150% of what you can actually manage, and then because you've burnt out, you don't go back to the gym for the next 2 years, and that's not consistent. That's not consistency. And then, as I already said, tracking your progress in whatever way seems to satisfy you. So that will help in terms of your discipline. If discipline is your is the factor that is holding you back, you might want to look into these things. So the next thing is willpower, which is very similar but different. So willpower is the ability to refrain from doing something you want to do, and this is usually something negative. So you'll see the cigarettes, the drugs, the alcohol, the whatever the case may be, pills, whatever. I don't know what kind of drugs you people are into, but it's avoiding the thing you shouldn't be doing, basically. So usually if you do something you shouldn't, it is because that thing is easy, or the thing you should be doing seems a lot more difficult. If willpower seems to be your issue, you will need to find a way to make the negative thing you prefer to do invisible, so out of sight, out of mind. You'd have to find a way to make it unattractive. Remind yourself why this thing is negative. Remind yourself of all the cons. You want to make it difficult. So let's say the drug dealer that you usually go to, you delete his number or whatever the case may be, or you actually message your friends that you do drugs with that, listen, you're trying to get into fitness, so I'm going to be easing back on the drugs. They're going to side eye you, but that's probably for the best anyways. And then the last thing is, you're going to want to find a way to make it unsatisfying. So after you do the drug, try not to feel good about it. Try not to talk yourself into saying, oh, this was the right thing to do. Actually sit in your discomfort, sit in your pain, sit in realizing, I probably shouldn't have done this. I should have done the more productive thing anyways. But that's willpower. We'll get into motivation, and this is the big part about the thing that's very subjective now, and it's probably going to be one of the main things when it comes to making sure you get through that first month and therefore making exercising a habit. Motivation is all about if you have that dog in you, basically. It's the motivation to work hard. It's the motivation to go out and do the thing. And anytime you have that motivation, you need to act on it. Don't think to yourself, oh, because I'm motivated and I'm going to enjoy doing it, I shouldn't. You should tell yourself, the fact that I'm going to now enjoy doing something that I should be doing is the best of all worlds. When you're motivated, push. Use that motivation to the best of your ability. But when we talk about motivation, we need to talk about motivation in the sense of, what is the point of being motivated to do 100 push-ups today and never doing a push-up for the next 5 years? What is the point in doing a full body push-up, pull-ups, squats, a full routine, full body routine, not doing it for another 5 years? What is the point of those? What is the point of saying, all right, you're going to go in the gym and you're going to do your bench press max and you're never going back in the gym for the next 4 months? When it comes down to hard work and what it means to work hard, it's about consistency. It's not about being able to go in the gym every now and again and going all out and burning out and never going back. Hard work is going and putting out what you can on the day to the best of your ability. Hard work is just turning up, showing up. So you'll see the little graph I have on the right. You'll see what progress looks like. All of these things are progress. You'll see the guy at the top, he gets to full a lot faster than the guy in the middle, and they all get and you'll also find that the guy at the last place, he he probably got motivated. Like you'll see he starts off small, then there's a big jump, and then he goes down slowly. It's very easy in that slow, in the third, fourth, and fifth bubble. You'll find it's going down, and you'll find if that's your motivation levels, it's very easy to fall off at this point. But you see, if you stick through at that lowest point when you think nothing else is left, there's probably something at the other end of it that's waiting to break through. There's a good experiment for this where they show the melting of an ice cube, and it's not until it gets to that certain melting point that you actually see it melting. Even though the heat was always increasing, you never saw any progress or any actual breakthrough until it got to that singular point. And the key behind this is to remember that everyone's different, and we'll get into genetics and stuff, but everyone's different, so you can't judge your journey based on someone else's journey. At the end of the day, consistency is hard work. Turning up and doing your best is gonna be better than anything else when it comes to this. As I said, it's all about making this thing a habit. It's all about the mentality. So let's get into the physical things. Let's just run through this quickly, because as I said, it's not as important. We need to focus on the mentality side of things. So if you're not finding consistency, you probably need to rewatch the first 15 minutes and not focus on this part. But experience and genetics, because I've tied them together because they go hand in hand, is the experience and genetics matter. So if you're a 4-year retired junior champion badminton player versus someone who's 600 pounds and struggling to get to the kitchen and back, you're in very different realms in terms of getting back into fitness. The things you guys are gonna have to do, your programming, the type of coaches you would need, the diet, every single thing about getting back into fitness is going to be different for you two guys. However, on the mental side of things, it can be just as difficult for both of you. On one end, the one person is saying, look how great I used to be, starting back. Every time they start back now, they're so far off than where they used to be that they become demoralized and then they stop again. Versus the other person who's just obese, they struggle because it's like, will I ever get there in the end? It's going to require so much more from me than it would for the next person. But as I said, consistency is going to be the name of the game, and not focusing on other people's journeys. Because that 600-pound person is actually going to make the fastest progress out of the lot of us. That junior badminton Olympian or whatever, that person will make the least progress because their bodies are already hardened to a certain extent to physical labor and stress and strain. So it's actually going to be more difficult for them to start seeing progress, or seeing progress in what they would deem as progress, because of the high standards they have for themselves. Whereas the 600-pound guy, he's just trying to look good, he's just trying to look healthy, he's just trying to get into shape. And realistically, if he focuses on any mediocre plan and any mediocre diet out there, he'll get there within a year max. He'll get there. But anyways, next point. Try to remember these two things as a combo will be totally different for every human. So a perfect plan will be different from everyone to everyone. Hence why coaches even exist in the first place. It's not a one-shoe-fits-all type thing. And you can expect to start seeing results within a month for every person. But you'll only start to have sights of your genetic limit or your highest potential within 2 years. It will take you. You won't actually be at your highest potential. But if you train for 2 years consistently, you'll start to know what your genetic potential will look like. So if you train for 2 years consistently and your bench is now 225, you can be sure that you probably won't be benching 495 in your lifetime, maybe not even 405. However, if you train for 2 years consistently and your bench is 405, then listen here, mate, you might be able to get into powerlifting. It doesn't really matter what your body weight is once you benching 405 after 2 years. A few form corrections, a few more bulks, you might get there. But the next thing, the workout routine or the goal, which go hand in hand. Whatever your goal is, the workout routine will match what your goal is. But to start out, all routines in the first 2 years are basics. Simple, utter, just basics. And if your goal is just to become someone in physical shape, you only will ever need the basics. You'll never need to get too complex about your training. Just doing hard training, in whatever capacity, 3 times a week, you'll get in shape. Simple as. It doesn't even matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter if you're jogging. It doesn't matter if you're having a laugh outside, playing football. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you do it 3 times a week, you'll get into shape. So what is your final goal? Whatever it is, you need to stop looking for shortcuts, because whatever your final goal is, it's probably going to take months and years to get there. So but what you need to remember is, once it is achieved, it is easily maintained. Once you get to that point of physical fitness. So currently, I'm about 63 kilograms. It would be very easy to maintain where I am. I'm coming from 57, 56 kg. So I've put on a bit of muscle. However, you'll come to find that where I am, if I stop focusing on my diet and I stop going to the gym and I just start doing push-ups, I'll still maintain where I am for a good portion of time, because my body has now adapted to the new normal, as this being my new norm. So once you get to where you need to be, it is easy to maintain. It's just about finding that grit to get there. But as I said, you don't want to have that mentality, which is why you need to focus on the mental side of things, not the physical. Because if you have that mindset of, oh, I only need to train for 2 years, then I can stop, you'll probably never end up training for 2 years consistently. So anyways, you also need to focus, as I said, everyone's an individual, so you need to focus on what your weekly schedule looks like. What's your school routine? What's your work routine? What daily activities do you do? If you're a construction worker, you probably don't need to be doing as many deadlifts and as many compound exercises. You probably already have quite a built physique. You probably just need to focus on some lat raises, get the shoulders pumping. I don't even know, mate. And diet, I wouldn't put too much emphasis on diet right now, unless you are that 600-pound person or you're 40 kgs and really anorexic. Unless you're on those two very high, extremes, I wouldn't suggest focusing on diet too much right now, but I would start to pay attention to what your diet generally looks like. Because once you have that idea, you will know if you need to eat less or more, or if it didn't matter. But I think that's basically, this is going to be the final slide now, so we're wrapping up here. As I said, please remember, guys, focus on the mental side of things. But the actual routine to follow for beginners or someone getting back into it, what I would suggest, decide on how often per week. My suggestion would always be, the science dictates between 2 and 6 times a week. I would suggest 2 to 4 for someone just getting back into it. You'll see results with only once per week. So if you only got time on a Saturday to do a workout, still that is enough. Start finding that consistency with just that Saturday. Create 2 to 4 sessions that are enjoyable for you and are trackable with regards to weight, reps, forms, time, whatever way. We talked about how to track your outcome progress, whatever seems satisfying for you. So create your 2 to 4 sessions that are enjoyable for you, and then from there you can create a weekly plan inclusive of those sessions you created. And I'd suggest doing it for a month, and then you might want to take a week off to rest, to kind of just because what you'll come to find, it's not just your physical body that can get burnt out, it's also your mental brain as well. But moreover, as I said, the key to this is going to be the mental game to find consistency. I've only recently found consistency, and I have found that these are the things, reading this book, as I told you, where is that book? That's Mental Fitness. That's my Bible. That's the Quran. Wherever that book is. Oh. Yeah. So this book is what is really one of the biggest motivations behind this video, and also one of the biggest reasons as to why I'm starting to find a bit of consistency now. But that's been RasLunacy. I hope you guys got something out of this video, and I hope you guys end up finding some level of consistency in the gym. Remember now, the mental side of things, make it your identity. Focus on the identity first, the process second, and the outcome dead last. In fact, if you can not focus on the outcome at all, it's for the best, because the outcome will come naturally. If you just focus on the identity and the process, the outcome will come. So stop focusing on the outcome, guys. That's going to be the major takeaway from this video, what I wanted to get. But that's been RasLunacy signing out. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe if you want more videos like this. I'm going to be trying to get into more fitness related to content, because it's a positive reinforcement for everyone to remember to take care of their physical health. But that's been RasLunacy signing out.